Welcome back to the Compound Podcast, episode 109, presented by Parce Rum, the best rum in the world. I drink it, you drink it. People in the left field bleachers love to drink it because they yell it at me every game.
And then they're fighting after.
We'll talk about it. There were some fights during the two-game Sox series. We have a special guest, friend of the pod, Scotty Effross, with not just a fan question, but he is our official guest on the podcast. Welcome, Scotty.
Thank you guys for having me. What an honor this is. You know, Dakota said it earlier, there's certain benchmarks to reach as a professional athlete, first big league debut and everything. This is the tops, being the guest, not the Scotty Effross fan question of the week, the guest of the pod. So very honored.
Thank you for rocking some compound style merch as well with the obvious shirts.
Yeah, it's called cross pollination, right? A little cross branding.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. Cross pollination.
Yeah. Zach, you know what my favorite part about us having Scott on is? He's going to listen to this episode once it comes out and then text us and be like, oh my God, I sounded so stupid when I said this and that. Like he's going to 100%.
Absolutely. I'll get in a rhythm. Don't worry. We'll
get in a rhythm.
You got some coffee.
No, it's tea. It's tea.
That's a nice, it's very cold in Chicago. It's raining. We got rained out today and Scotty's drinking tea, getting ready for 18 innings tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah. Long day at the yard.
Whoa, doubleheader.
Yep. Long day. We're going to get there. My prediction is that we arrive at the yard around 8 a.m. and leave around 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Nothing better.
Yeah, that's about right.
Scotty's throwing in one of those, and he's throwing 3 shutty.
I think Scotty might throw in both of them.
I hope so. I think David Robertson said he threw in both of a doubleheader once.
Oh,
I don't think my arm could do it.
That's incredible. He may have not said that, or he said he knew someone that did, but I'm just picturing that.
That is the most Scott story I've ever heard in my life.
Zach, I know you just finished the game.
That, but someone did say that once.
I know you just finished the game, but do you have to eat your disgusting fake Greek food while we record?
Ian, I sprinted out of that clubhouse because I didn't want to leave.
You did good.
I fucking sprinted because you don't want to stay up until 10 o'clock when we're over here on the East Coast, staying over until 1 o'clock in the morning. All right.
Yeah.
When's your game tomorrow, though?
5 o'clock. I don't care. It's not about what's tomorrow. Hey, Scott. Hey, Scott.
Coda's eating fucking chips. Stop eating chips. Just put
I'm not missing a beat. I'm hungry. Let me eat. Also, we didn't tell the people that we're recording this on a Friday because you guys are talking about having a doubleheader tomorrow, so they're going to know that.
Yeah, Ian.
Monday.
That's fine.
Check your net.
No, it's okay. I'm just saying, just so people know.
Let's explain.
Before you start yelling at me, check your net. All right.
I have to tell the people about the games tomorrow.
Scotty chimes in. It's full of pucks.
I want to. What's going on right now?
Sorry. Keep going. My bad. Tell the people
We're recording this on Friday evening because we have a tough schedule for the Cubbies. Tough schedule for everybody. Really tough for the Cubbies. We got doubleheader Saturday. Sunday night baseball to a West Coast trip. Night travel. We're going to get in about 2 o'clock on the West Coast. That's 4 o'clock Central Time, and then have to play a game on Monday in San Diego. So it's going to be really tough for us to record. We're doing it tonight. Before we get into talking to Scotty, I just want to say one thing. We got the lineup text for tomorrow. We got 2 games. Kershaw's throwing 1, and then Anderson's throwing 2.
And you're not starting.
I know. I am not starting the first game. And when I got the lineup, it's like, fuck, I'm never going to get to hit off Kershaw again because I started my career 0 for 5 with 5 punchies. I'm never going to get another start against him. Ever.
You see those stats, you don't go back in.
It's like, fuck. I haven't faced him since like 2018 because they won't let me play against him anymore.
Do you want to?
Yes. I want to put a ball in play against him.
This is like the case of like, come on, man, put me in there. Like when you know you're not in there, and it's just like, I wanted him. It's like when like come on.
Are you sitting the second game?
The first game. He's throwing the first one. Down the first one.
You get the lineup.
They haven't throwing the early game. Wow, I thought Anderson would throw the early game.
Well, I think we were supposed to play at 1, so they're just keeping him in his rhythm.
Yeah.
Your last debut was in 2018 against him, by the way.
Yep, I think I punched out at least twice.
You punch out all 5 times. You are 0 for 5 with 5.
Oh my Tom, we did it. Jesus.
Wow.
I think the last time I faced him, he was getting close to either 2,000 career punch outs or 2,500 or something, a big number. And I helped him get close.
Hey, is that just a taste of you that you've been in the big leagues for a long time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. Because he just had his record-setting strikeout last
I think
week?
he said 3,000.
Yeah, that's nice. I don't think it was 3,000.
Well, he just said for the most Dodger all time for a Dodger, right?
Yeah. For a Dodger of all time for the Dodgers in Los Angeles for the Dodgers. Yeah. I got
You
it.
feel a little frisky because you had a home
All
run.
right.
You want to tell
No,
people
I'm
about
starving.
your game?
Yeah.
I'm starving.
Has anybody ever seen a more Zach Short box score than his line tonight? 1 for 3 with a homer and 2 walks.
That's
Picture
exactly
perfect.
it.
Also,
Perfect.
Scott, you know how angry Zach gets when he doesn't eat, so we need to.
No,
let him
yeah,
go,
that's
man.
true. Yeah, let him go.
He's like he gets cranky.
Slippery slope.
Can you guys tell me when you all played together?
17.
17.
18.
17 and 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess not 19 because you guys were in triple ball.
No, we rehabs with an asterisk.
19, yeah. Me and Zach rehab / learned how to throw differently in Arizona together. Mental rehab.
So how was that, Scotty? How was switching from over the top to sidearm?
How was switching?
Wait,
Yeah.
hey. We're not just gonna preface like, hey, how was it? Like you went through it. Like you were on the verge of getting released, and they said, hey, do you want to try this? And Scott took it by the horns and said, yeah, let me fucking do it. So explain that. Sorry. Dakota, good question.
Yes. So yeah, it was the All-Star break in 2019. I actually made a spot start against the Chattanooga Lookouts and threw pretty well.
This is still over the top, correct?
This is still over the top. Yes. My last over the top outing was a spot start. The reliever of my whole career. Our AA pitching coach at the time, Ron Vallone, who's now the AAA pitching coach, one of my favorite people in the organization, comes up to me in the outfield at Tennessee and says, hey, let's just see how you sling a couple. Just like, I thought he was like playing with me. He's like, just sling a couple from the side. I'm like, okay, like whatever. He's like, oh yeah, looks good. In his very RV voice. If you know him, like he like, that's exactly how he said it. But comes up to me and explained that the organization would like to approach me about dropping my arm slot down. I was like, oh, like what? Like, what's the reasoning? Whatever. Like I thought I was kind of turning a corner with that spot start through pretty well. And they explained it, said like, well, we have a couple thoughts, it's kind of just, it would give you a different look. It would add some deception. They liked my pitches at the time, but just, I was very inconsistent at the time, very up and down in AA for about a year and a half. And after they explained it to me, they said like, we'd like to bring you down to Arizona and kind of take your time with it. They really didn't give me a timeline with it. It was just like, go down there, we'll work on it, get comfortable, use the pitch lab and everything. So I said, okay, let me take some time to think about it. And went down a week after. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going both feet in with it. Like whatever happens. We'll see what happens. And I was down there for 2 months. Zach, you were there for?
Yeah, I was there for about a month and a half.
Yeah, I was there for 2 months. We had a great group down there. Unfortunately, It was you, Duncan Robinson, and Nico, amongst other people. But I was there for about 2 months, just kind of working on my new arm slot, got into some live BPs, got into some AZL games, and then went out to Myrtle Beach at the end of the season to kind of see how it would go against some decent competition. Went out there, did pretty well, finished in the fall league, found my way in there somehow. Yeah. And then, 2020 didn't get to play. 2021 started in AA. Me and Dakota roomed together in minor league spring training. We did the same exact thing every single day for a month straight. It was very impressive.
Scott introduced me to Marvel. We watched every single Marvel movie.
We did do that. So 2021 started in AA, got to AAA, and then made my debut at the end of August. So it seems like a long time. That was kind of a long-winded answer of how did it go. But at the end of the day, I always, whenever people ask me, about the transition, I always say how incredibly grateful I am to the Cubs for, they definitely didn't know me that at all at the time. Very easily could have been another decision, but they gave me the time and the freedom to explore this and the resources down in Arizona to make it worth their while. So I'm incredibly grateful to the organization for giving me a second chance, really.
And didn't you tell us before, like me and Zach, that like looking back, wouldn't you say 2020 like was almost perfect for you to be able to just literally work and fine tune everything?
Yeah, definitely. I would say 2020 out of the 3 years I've been doing this now. I mean, obviously, like, this year's completely different set of circumstances, but 2020, since I wasn't able to play, I came into spring training, got into some, like, backed up some big league games, got into that, but we didn't get to play the season, obviously. At home, in Pittsburgh, I was able to find a really good group of professional and college kids, professional guys and college kids that we did live BPs for, I don't know, 3-4 months, like twice a week. And really, I was just able to strip away all the competitive nature of going through a season and in the minor leagues and everything, and really just work on my mechanics, work on my pitch sequencing, and kind of just was really able to feel myself making adjustments at the time. And I really credit a lot of that to just being able to really slow down and work on my body, because like during the heat of a season, like you're trying to get out and you're not like really focusing too much on the mechanics, I guess. So I came into 2021 much better than how I felt in 2020 mechanically, because it's still relatively new at the time.
And you came into 2021, and I mean, like you said, we roomed together in spring. So like you absolutely carved in spring, went back to Tennessee.
Man.
You did, you shoved, went back to Tennessee, absolutely shoved. I think you had like one bad outing where you gave up like 4.
Yeah, we don't.
But you take that away, you had a 0 ERA. That's how baseball works.
It was a bad outing.
But that's what I mean. You had one bad one. I think that was your only bad one the entire season. Like, then you came up to AAA, continued to shove. And then first person you got to tell, I don't know if I was the first person you told, but when you got the call, we were rooming together.
You were absolutely the first person I told.
Let's go.
I ran to your room. I ran to your room after TV called me, and I'm like, I
knew it too. The second you came in my room, he goes, "Hey, Dakota," and I'm like, I know what just happened.
Well, I didn't like bothering Dakota at night because he's usually playing video games. He's locked into a show or whatever. So I would rarely come in there unless I absolutely needed something. So when I told him, it was pretty important, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And that was so sick to see after making that transition and then grinding back in Tennessee again, getting back to, like, that was your first year in AAA last year, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Make it to the show.
Triple ball. Love Des Moines.
Dakota, you may have to yell at my mom or yell at Scott, because between you two, I don't know who's their favorite.
Between me and Scott?
Yeah. I think it's Dakota right now.
That's okay. She can be like tied with us because she loves me. She's the best.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. She checks in with you more than me.
She's got room in her heart for both of us.
Yeah.
All three, I guess all three. I don't know. You sometimes.
No room for me.
Does she? Does she ever check in on Duncan? Like text Duncan, and be like, "How's law school?" Like,
no. She texts me about his dad. She's like, "Hey, like,
wow."
Pretty periodically.
But has she ever like texted him and like, "How's Ian doing? Like, is he doing pretty good?" Or
whenever Ian gets a homer, she's like, "Oh my god, so happy for Ian."
Oh,
he cashes in on her dinger dollars.
Yeah. What fucking time.
Hey, Scott, can you talk about how, like, throughout that whole process, like when you get that, when they come to you and they're like, "Hey, do you want to drop down?" Like the thought of going to Arizona for 2 months in the middle of summer.
Real quick.
Like that was the one thing that I thought of. I was like, that sounds brutal.
But also, sorry, it wasn't really like a offer, was it? It was basically like you either do this or it's probably it.
Yeah, the way it was described to me was hey, this is a good chance to stay in the organization at the time. And now, like, that was never said to me, but like, the conversations were like, we would like you to do this. And I was like, okay, like it was very, I at the time it was definitely unnerving, I think, because I mean, you do something I was 25, 26 at the time. Like you do something your entire career fairly successfully. And, it's hard to hear that like, hey, it's just not working anymore. And like, I could see the writing on the wall. Like I said, a year and a half in AA. You guys saw me there. Like, it was good. It was bad. It was kind of average. It was very consistent. I think, looking back on that time, I kind of reached my ceiling physically from what I was doing previously. But, when they described to me, said like, it's not going to be rushed. It's not going to be something that like, we're just going to kind of throw you up to the side and forget about. I always credit Josh Zide and Tyler Pearson, who are my two absolute rocks down there. Every single day we were grinding video, looking at different arm slots, like kind of trying to find the one that seemed to work and kind of going from there and like making adjustments from there. So they put in a ton of resources into me down there. And it felt great because like that was probably the first time in my career that I had felt, like I stood out a little bit because I was doing something different. And in hindsight, it was a great, I get, 2.5 months of just completely focusing on relearning my mechanics, obviously. And then, it kind of gave me a mental break from kind of decompressing. And, you push so hard for so long in the minors. And like I said, I was kind of struggling a little bit and you kind of like hit a wall. So it kind of allowed me to take myself out of the game for a little bit because I was not playing, but learning about something new. And it kind of just gave me a new perspective on the game. So I think when I came back and was able to get in game form, not only was I a different pitcher physically, but I think mentally it gave me a little bit of clearer picture of what I wanted to do with baseball.
Back to your 2020 thing. Like we have, we talk all the time about baseball, but like, I just have every day, like vivid memories of you just text me like after your lives. And it was just like, dude, I just need a shot. Give me a shot. I need a shot. And like to the point where I was like, Scott, I don't know what to fucking tell you, man. It's September.
You're not making
Zach was at home too.
I'm like, dude, I'm fucking on the 17th hole. You got to stop texting.
Zach's playing an amateur golf event.
Yeah, literally, I'm in a fucking tournament. I'm like, Scott, you got to stop.
Did you sign up for that and then got traded?
Huh?
Didn't you sign up for that tournament and then got traded?
No, I played in it. I played in it too.
Did you? Oh, no, that was Ernie. Never mind.
Yeah.
I do remember seeing in spring training, I believe it was spring training 2020, Scott came into a game and like, I had no clue that he had switched and he came into a game and dropped down and I was like, huh,
this guy's gross.
What's going on? This guy's unbelievable. Can you talk?
Now I got Ian. We have a routine now where Ian finds me after he stretches and tries to play catch with me really quick. And he'll just drop down for a few. So now he slings it sidearm as well.
Do you want to talk about how whenever anybody tries to throw with you, they throw sidearm?
Yeah, it's like, ooh, that's the funny way to throw. I'm gonna do that too.
I did it once in catch play with Scott, and he goes, "Hey, that's my thing. Don't do it."
He said whenever anybody throws him ball, they like drop down. Like, oh
yeah. Hey, that's you, man. That's you. Yeah, you're the weird guy. Yeah.
Can you talk about being? This is your first full season in the big leagues. It's a very veteran bullpen.
Yes.
A lot of guys with experience, a lot of guys with a ton of success. Can you talk about just like what you've learned being in the bullpen for the first time, the big leagues, like the routine, the schedule, like what's this type of stuff you picked up in the first month?
Yeah. I think it's like you said, super veteran laden team. I like our mix a lot because there's a lot of younger guys, but there's also, we had 3 guys that won with the Braves last year on our roster. So it's a super veteran team, especially in the bullpen. Those guys are great. It's not even anything specific to like the day-to-day process of being a big league. It's just like listening to them like talk. Like I've been, talking to David Robertson and Chris Martin and Michael Gibbons a ton about just like, like little anecdotes that they have across their career that they learned something or, like ways they go about their business and, what was your best matchup with this? So I think just having those conversations, it's great. And it makes me feel a lot more comfortable down there. And we have a really good group. We've been really good so far, hoping to keep that going. But I think everybody's like super about their business. I think everybody loves, kind of coming to the park every day, especially I know we've had tough weather at Wrigley, but when we're at home, especially, it's a great atmosphere and it's a really good group of guys.
That's huge.
I just want to say really quick, I love when the bullpen talks about tough weather because they're sitting inside, like tough weather out there today, boys. They're like looking through, it's raining.
Yeah, so our bullpen coach Chris Young, he said like we can turn the heat up in there if we wanted to, but we like to keep it close to where it is. So it's cold in there. It's colder in there than it is the dugout. The dugout
you guys are wearing jackets.
Yeah, the dugout is
out there with 17
Ian has no sympathy for you.
No sympathy.
No, that's okay. Ian looks really cold out there. We can kind of see him through the glass a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll come out and play catch with Ian at least once a game. Usually the 4th or 5th inning is kind of my routine.
So Scott, like Ian said, he alluded to,
Zach.
it's it's your first full year in the big leagues. You had some time last year, obviously. Has there been a moment like the moment that you're like, holy shit? Like I think the game I got my first hit, Salvador Perez was catching, and I was just like, look back, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like it was just kind of like oh my God, I'm actually here. And then
Not like
I saw Ohtani for the first time. I was like,
yeah,
all right, this is
that. I think that moment happened last year. I'm trying to think, but there's another moment that was like kind of like this is really cool for me was I think last year, yeah, like when you kind of come up like first couple weeks, like you're like, oh my God, like played the Cardinals and I was facing Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado. I'm like, what am I doing? But I think this year, honestly, one of the coolest things this year was, so we're in Atlanta. Chris Martin, veteran pitcher who pitched with Atlanta last year, said, hey, like anybody who doesn't know, like when you come here, when you run to the game in the middle of an inning as a reliever, they'll turn the lights off and do the chop to try to intimidate you. And this is Acuna's first game back. So Scotty's warming up in the bullpen. You get coming in. Came in for Smiley. It was second and third, 2 outs, and I had Austin Riley up. So big spot, like middle of the game, 2-1 ball game.
Did you step off?
No.
Scotty step off.
Wow.
I had 2 pitches that inning, so that was good. I knew that going in, so they called for me in the middle of the inning, and then the lights go off and completely shut off, and the whole stadium's going like the chop and everything. And I'm like, I was jogging in, I'm like, this is sick. Like that was like the cool, like I think like the moment where I was like, the big leagues are like awesome, and like obviously like everything that goes into it is better than I ever could expect. But that was one moment that I think I'll remember for the rest of my playing career. Just packed house, 30,000 fans. World Series champs, all-star player coming back in like a big spot. So that was one of the moments where I was like, this is pretty special. That'll be one I'll remember for a while.
Zach, will you explain to the people Scotty step-offs?
Yeah.
We don't have time. You guys, Zach's got a game tomorrow. Me and Ian have a double header. Like,
Scott acquired that nickname when he just had this thing.
Shout out Jared Young, who also did a homer tonight.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Jared Young, we were all in the fall league, right? Is that when it started?
Yeah.
And for some reason, there was a guy on first base, and Scott just abused the right to pick off to first base. Like that.
Now I couldn't do that.
That would say in the minor leagues, you would be toast. They would just be running laps around the bases because
I would score him.
Yeah. So whenever Scott looks a little jammed up, it's like, oh boy, he's gonna step off. Here we go.
Would you pick every time? Would you pick every time or just step off the bat?
Scotty pick off.
Oh, it was everything. Off. It was a quick pick. It was a like a step
off,
like,
show the ball.
Step off, a little here, a little step off, like look at the catcher, like my bad.
No, hey, let me get that again. Get that sign again.
Yeah, get that again. The funny thing is, I think the first time I did it, Jared was at first, and JJ Matijevic, who played for I can't remember.
Yes.
Salt Lake or Surprise or whatever. And I actually threw live BPs with him in Pittsburgh because he lives in Pittsburgh. He lived in Pittsburgh at the time. I picked off 3 times over there, and it actually ended up working out because Colin threw him out from home. So it kind of worked out in my favor. He actually stole. And he told Jared, he's like, what the hell is he doing? And Jared's like, I don't know. And I remember talking to him about that during our lives. He's like, why did you pick off so many times? Like, bro, I don't know what's going on. It's nervous.
That was after 2020, right?
I was 19.
I was 19.
Yeah, so Scotty step off. So I haven't done it too much. I did one. I did do one that outing actually. I had one at Dansby, and Dansby told Rivas, like, I'm not stealing.
You had just learned sidearm too. I'm sure that played into it. You're like,
yeah.
And you're already. I mean, your college nickname was Psycho E. Like you're already a psycho on the mound. You've calmed down a ton. You are way calmer now.
Oh my God, the best was in Double A when he was just like he'd get it out of the pen.
Is this an interview or a roast session? I'm not sure. Like,
you came in once in AAA.
You guys don't do this to Nick Miller or like whoever else comes on, like this Arietta.
Zach, there was one game he came into the dugout, and I was in the dugout. I think it was in Toledo because we were in the dugout. Maybe not Toledo. I forget where we were, but we were in the dugout and he came in and he was like going up and down like a fucking like raging bull. Like it was a good inning. He was just fired up. He's like huffing and puffing. I'm like, whoa, man, breathe. Whoa. He's a psycho.
I like ball. What can I say?